Hello everyone. This is the lecture video for chapter 4, combining type and the images. We basically talk about three things this chapter. First of all, we're going to talk about some fundamental tools that you can use to handle objects. Then we're going to talk about how to deal with text. How do you input text into document and put it the way that you want them to be. And thirdly, we're going to talk about how to basically handle images. So after studying this chapter, the expectation is that it should be handle. You should be able to create a InDesign document from scratch yourself. So let's first of all look at how to handle objects in InDesign. Again, we needed to launch InDesign first. You can click document, or you can simply press Command N, which means you're going to create a new document. Like I said, we want to uncheck facing here and leave all the other things as default. Say OK. When you open InDesign, notice that InDesign has two rulers. This is the horizontal ruler, which goes from those are the negative values, negative 36, negative 30. Even though you did not see the negative sign here, but those are negative values, and then it goes to 0. It goes to positive values, positive 6, positive 12, positive 18, positive 60, goes on and on. This is the vertical ruler. Here is the 0 point, starting from the 0 point. And then those are the positive values. Those are not the negative values. Please remember that. When it goes down, those are the positive values. Positive 24, positive 30, positive 36, positive 54. It goes on and on. The question may be, you said, well, those, for example, here is 12. What's the unit? Is it 12 point, 12 pico, 12 inch? Recall in the previous chapter, chapter 2, I guess, we talked about the three fundamental units of measurement in design. Point is the smallest unit. You have 12 point, which normally read in this way. It's P12. It equals to 1 pica. So it's 1p. And 6 picas. Now here's 1p. 6p equals to 1 inch. Well, remember that it's supposed to be the straight quotation mark. So let's go find the glyph. Okay. So therefore 1 inch equals to 72 points. So it's actually P72. Those are the fundamental units of InDesign. And if you want to figure out what units is used in those rulers, one way to do it is to put your cursor on the ruler, press Ctrl click, and you will see picos is checked. So that means this is 12 picos. Negative 12 picos, negative 6 picos, 0, 6 picos, 12 picos, 6, and this is actually 1 inch because it's 6 picos. Here this is 6 picos, 1 inch, 12 picos, 2 inch, goes that way. Let me double check. Control click. Yeah, here is also picos. If you want, you can change it into points. Then this is 0 points, 72 points. 72 points is 1 inch. Remember we said here already. And this is 144 points, which is 2 inches. So this is the way that you can figure out what unit is used in the ruler. And if you want set up a unit for both of the rulers, you put your cursor here, press Ctrl, and let's say we just select inches. So now I can see this is 1 inch, 2 inch, 3 inch, 4 inch, 5 inch. Here this is a negative 6 inch, negative 3 inch, 0 inch, 1 inch, 2 inch. So we change both rulers into inch. Normally when we work with InDesign, we would like to use picos as the unit, so we want to change it back to picos for both of them. And recall that InDesign has 3 formatting control panel. Right now this is the character because the text tool is activated. So you have the character formatting control panel, paragraph formatting control panel. But when you select the object, when we say object, the text frame, all the shapes, the lines, the circles, rectangles, stars, polygons, those are objects. When you select the object with the selection tool, then this is the object formatting control panel. And this is the Y, X, this is the X, this is the Y, and that actually value is consistent with the value on those rulers. For instance, if you look at this text frame, right now the value is 4P 3.6 point, and the Y value is on this vertical ruler, that's the Y value, is 5 picos, 10.8 point. So that's the value. That's the location, XY location for this text frame. And how large is this text frame? When you look at it here, so the width is 35 picos, 1.2 point, and the height is 21 picos, 2.4 points. So with those rulers, you can actually have a better idea of where this object is and how large it is. Of course, the object formatting control give you the option of changing the location and the size of this object. For example, right now, let's say we want to change this thing into 40 picos, 40p, and the height, let's change it into 20 picos. Okay, so we change it, and if you select it again, see now it's 40 picos as the width and 20 picos as the height. It can also change the location. For example, if we put this thing as 10 picos here, and this thing as 1 picos, or 0 picas. Let's say 0 picas. So this is where the location is. How is the location calculated? The location is, in order to understand how the location of the object is calculated, we need to understand two concepts. First concept is 0 point. And the second concept is what we call proxy. This is the proxy. Let's talk about the 0 point first. 0 point is where the 0 value on the two rulers get across. So by default, the 0 point is here, the upper right corner of the document. This is where the value on the horizontal ruler is 0, as well also the value on the vertical ruler is also 0. So it's by default the 0 is here. And when the 0 point is here, you tell InDesign that we want to move this object to 10 10, let's say, picas on the horizontal ruler. Then this is 0, 6, and this is the 10 pica position. And 0 for Y, so here is a 0 pica. If you want to change it into 5 pica, let's say 6 picas, then the object must be moved down. So let's put 6p here. Here is this is the 6 picas position. So that's the 0 point. You have to be able to understand the 0 point first to figure out where you want the object to go. The 0 point can be changed. By default is here, but if you put your cursor here at the center of this cross and press your mouse and drag it, you can change the 0 point to anywhere. Let's say we're going to move it to this corner. So now the 0 point is here. Or you can change the 0 point to the bottom. And now the 0 point is here. 0, 0. And of course, when the 0 point is changed, the X and the Y value for the object has been changed dramatically. So you need to now understand the 0 point first. Let's get the 0 point back. We just double click this area, so the 0 point will go back to this area. Let's say sometimes you create a document, you don't want people to mess up with your 0 point, and what you can do to lock it? You put your cursor here, press Ctrl, lock 0 point. Okay, now it's locked. No matter how you move it, 0 point will not be changed. So in order to understand the position of the object, first of all, you need to understand the 0 point. Then, like we said, you also need to understand that this is what we call a proxy. The proxy answers one question. For example, if you select this object again, the X value is 10 picas. The Y value is 6 picas. So that means this object is located on 10 picas on the horizontal ruler and 6 picas on the vertical ruler. However, this object is quite large. Which part of this object, after all, is located in that point? Is that this point, or 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 the middle point of this object? Proxy helps to understand that, to answer that question. The proxy has 9 squares. Each represent a part of the object. And so you can see that right now this square is filled out. All the other squares are hollow. So that means the upper left corner if you look at here, the upper left corner is used as a reference point of this object. So when we say this object is located on 10 picas on horizontal ruler and 6 picas on vertical ruler, we are actually talking about this point, and that's the reference point. You can change the reference point. For instance, let's say if we are going to use this part as a reference point, click this here, and you see right now the reference point has been changed. And when you go back, select the object, you see now the value is not 10 picas and 6 picas. Instead, the x value is 50 picas and the y value is 26 picas because the reference point has been changed. And if you change it to here, the value again changed. So before you want to make sure where is the location of the object, you want to understand where is the 0 point and where is your reference point. Okay, again, by default the 0 point should be here on the upper left corner of the document, and the reference point should be also in the upper left corner. We've discussed the selection tool and the direct selection tool when we talk about the toolbox before. You still remember that the selection tool, you can use it to select the whole object. For example, you can select this object and rescale it, rotate it, and rescale it disproportionately. But whenever you select the object with the selection tool, you select everything. Direct selection tool, you can use it to select a part of this object. For example, you can select this corner. Right now every corner is hollow. Let's select this corner here. Now only this corner is filled out, all the other three are still hollow. And when you drag it, you can change the shape of this object. So that's direct selection tool. When you want to select the object, you can use selection tool or direct selection to select it directly, or you can also use the selection tool and then drag a square, then everything in the square will be selected. So let's say if we have multiple objects, we have this object, we have this object, and we have this object. We have 4 in total. How do you select everything? You can press Shift and select everything. If you press Shift, you select it. You select everything. That's one way to do it. The other way is you use the selection tool, drag a square. Everything in the square will be selected. If you do not want to select this star, don't include it in the square. Then all the other 4 will be selected instead of this star. As you can see, the handles on the star are not activated. That means it's not selected. So if you move the selected atoms, all the selected atoms will be moved to this side, but the star will not be moved because it's not selected. Now we're going to talk about a fundamental tool in InDesign, which means how do you place the text into InDesign. So let's move a little bit of space for that discussion. Before we talk, we can drag this object a little bit bigger so that we can use them. Okay, when we place the text into InDesign, notice that there's a red box here, which means we have overset text. So we can let's change the shape a little bit so that it can the text can be put. Okay, now there's no overset text, so you can see everything. The red box is gone because the overset text has been taken care of. Okay, back to our topic of placing text into InDesign. We have three ways of putting text into InDesign. The first way is that you create a text frame first. Again, as we said before, when you create a text frame, you can activate the tab tool, drag a text frame here, or if you have other objects, rectangle, circle, star, that has been created by this rectangle tool or rectangle frame tool, and then you can activate tab tool, double click that object, turn it into a text frame. But remember, in chapter 2 we discussed whenever you want to create something into a text frame, you want to make sure that the text does not start here, because if it starts here, then it will be very close to the stroke. So when you make it larger, you can see it's very close to the stroke. It's not very good look. And so before you put the text into the text frame or into a stroke, you want to press Command B, call this text frame option out, or you can press a Control, use the context menu to find the text frame option, and set up a inset spacing. Let's say we want to use 0.125 inch. Because this icon is linked, so if you set up the value here, all the other three will be the same. Now when you click it, okay, you can see they have the same value. It's automatically when we put it as an inch, it's automatically changed into the picas, because that's the default unit we used in those rulers. So and for most of the dialog box, there's a preview here. If you check it, then even though you didn't hit OK, you can still see what will happen if you hit OK. If it's unchecked, then you will not be able to see it. So check it, but make sure you still need to hit OK. And now we have some space between the text and the stroke. And when we want to place the text into the InDesign document, you can go to Type, find File, find a Place command, or you can simply press Command D. Then you will see this document, the folder where you can find the text. I have some text on desktop, so I'm going to desktop, and let's select a document here, probably a Word document or a text document. Let me see which one. Let's use this as an example, mass communication theory. Open it. See, because we already turned this into a text frame, so the tags are automatically put into this existing text frame. Here is this red box because they are overset tags again, and if you want, you can click here, put it here, double click this part, and then the text will be moved to this text frame. And you can continue, since there's still overset tags, you can still continue this output box and put it here. So that's the one way that you can put the text into the document. You have a text frame already, then you put the text into the existing text frame. Well, that's one way to do it. Another way to do it is press Command D. Select the text. This time we're going to use this syllabus as an example. So, okay, make sure you uncheck this thing. Open it. So we have some text right now. You can simply click and drag. Don't release your mouse. Click and drag a text frame, and then text will be automatically put into that text frame. Or you can simply Command D, select some text. Let's say we're going to select this text as an example. And this, when you see this, that means some text are loaded onto your cursor. You simply click it. You don't click and drag. If you click and drag, it will create a text frame. You just click it, and then it will create a text frame itself. Then you can resize the text frame into the shape that you want, and then put it into the InDesign document. So you have three ways to put the text into InDesign document. Recall that right now only this text is in the document. This part of the text is in the pasteboard. And similar as this one, this part is also in the pasteboard. So if you switch to preview mode, you will only be able to see the text that is in the middle of the document. So we want to switch back so that we can see the other text that we just placed into here. So the three ways of placing text into InDesign: put the text into an existing text frame, click and drag a text frame, or simply click it and put the text into the document. When you notice that when you want to put the text into several text frames here, like what we did here, I just put the text into this text frame and then click the output here, and then click this text frame, put the rest here, and then click this text frame here, put the rest here, and then put the rest of the text here. Well, sometimes when you have this kind of a layout, you may be wondering, when I finish reading this part, should I go here or go here? If you have that question, you may simply go to View and see the let me see, Extra. Show text threads, okay. Back to so yeah, when you click it, you will see text threads tell you that this is the first part of a text, then it goes to here, then it goes to here, then it goes to here. So it's very easy for you as a designer to figure out which part is the second part, which part is the third part. However, in reality, when you have this kind of question, you want to redesign the layout. Make sure that the readers will not have this type of question, because once the readers are confused, which part should be the second part of the text, which part should be the third part, they're not going to read it. So make the document easier for the readers to read is our priority when we design the layout, the document, the publications. Let's say, in some case, you think, well, when they finish reading this part, this should be the second part, then this should be the third part, or even though right now this is the second part, this is the third part. So you want to change it, make this second part into the third part, make this as the second part. How do you do it? And you simply activate this whole document and click this part. Double click it, so all the text will be gone, and then you click here. Selection tool again, output. Okay, it's loaded, and then click here, and then click here. You still need to load from the output box, and then click here. Okay, now if you look at the text thread extras, I think it's already shown. We just need to use the selection tool, select it. So you can see this one goes here, and then this one goes here, then this one goes here. We already changed the order of the text frame. And this way of manuing the text frame is what we call the manual text flow management, which means you just manually do everything. Put a text into this box, and then click the output box, and then click the second text frame, the third text frame, the first text frame. That's why it's called manual. There's another way of placing text which will make things easier. We call it semi-manual. For example, and let's delete this and Command D. Still use the syllabus as an example. Say OK. If you press, let me see, should it be Option? If you press Option, and you will see that the shape of the text close to the cursor has been changed, which means InDesign is ready for the semi-manual text flow management. And you can click the cursor, drag a text frame, the first one. You don't need to click the output here, simply drag the second one, and drag the third one, drag the first one until you put all the text into over there. In the whole process, you need to press Option all the time. So that means once you press Option, you do not need to go back to click the output box. You just create a text frame, and then the text will be placed until the whole text is placed into the InDesign document. And that is called semi automatic text flow. There is another way called automatic text flow. Automatic text flow, for example, let's move this object here and move this thing up a little bit so that we can have some space for this discussion. Let's say we're going to Command D, place this syllabus again. And if you want to use automatic text flow management, you need to press Shift Option. And notice we press Shift Option and hold it, and the cursor has been changed into a straight arrow. And then you just create a text frame here. Hold on. Press Shift Option again. Put your cursor here. Simply click it. Okay. And then you will see that there are overset text. But the thing is that overset text are still in the document. So look at here, Page Panel. If you do not have this Page Panel again, go to Window, Front Page, click it, the Page Panel will be there. So Page Panel. Sorry, we used the wrong key here. So you need to actually press Shift rather than Shift Option. So press Shift and then click it here. Okay, now you can see that previously this is the one-page document. Right now it has 1, 2, 3, 4, 13 pages. And if you go down from here, you will see all the text are put it into the document. InDesign automatically put everything into the document, and it created 13 pages. So that's called a automatic text flow management. You simply press Shift, not Shift Option, and then click the document. InDesign will automatically put everything into the document. The last way of managing text flow is that you said, well, I did not want to use manual text flow because you needed to click every text frame to introduce the text. I did not want to use the semi-manual, let's call it actually semi-automatic text flow management, which means you press Option because it's still tedious. You also do not want to use the automatic, which means you press Shift and click it, because in this case if you press Shift and click, because the text is so long, InDesign automatically create 13 pages for you. What if you say I only want 4 pages because you are creating a newsletter? So in that case you may want to use they call it automatic text flow with fixed number of pages. So let's say Command Z, we go back, and you only want 4 pages. So you have one page right now. Click here, you will create a new page, so another new page. So now you have 4 pages. What if you say you go back to the first page? Okay. What if you say okay, the cursor is loaded. You say that I want to put this syllabus onto this document, but I don't want to have 13 pages. I only want to place the syllabus into those 4 pages. And in that case, automatic text flow with fixed number of pages would be the best choice. And that's when you press Shift and Option. Okay, Shift and Option, and click here. Now you can see that the text are automatically placed on the document, but it does not create a new page for you. So this is called automatic text flow with fixed number of pages. Well, this is the ways of handling text. And now we're going to talk about another very important technique in InDesign, which is how to handle the graphs. But before we talk about that, we need to we need to talk about one more thing about the tags. Two things actually. Two things about the tags. We've already talked about the font size. Here's the font size, the leading values, and the kernels and the tracks. And now let's talk about end length and the paragraph rules, as well as spelling. After that, we can talk about the graphs. Now, let's say here you want to give an end length of this line. Let's call out the heading characters. You still remember the heading characters is supposed to be in type. Show heading characters. So you will know this is the paragraph, this is the paragraph, this is the paragraph with some tabs here. Let's say here in this paragraph, if we want to set a end length, you can simply press Command Shift Command U, and you create a end length here. Make it larger so that I can see it. You can see we have an end line here, but end line is a character function, which means if you select that character, that letter, then the end line will be applied over there. You can have some choices of end line. Select the text again, this line. So we select this, just this line. Okay. Go to this menu, end line options. Yeah, the preview is checked, so we can see you can have some changes of the end line. You can change the color of the end line, the type of end line. Let's say we are going to choose this end line, thin. So you can see that now it's changed to thin. Color, what if we change it into red? Say OK. Now you can see it's red, but remember when we create some end line, we do not want the end line to cut off the legs of the letters. So go back to end line options again, increase the offset value so that line will goes below a little bit, and it goes through here, but it does not cut off the letters of the legs of the letters. But that's again, that's the end line. There's also a paragraph function called paragraph rules. You don't need to select the text again. You just put your cursor anywhere in the paragraph. For instance, let's say we're going to put something on this paragraph. Make it smaller so that I can see it. This paragraph, you can put your cursor here, anywhere within this paragraph, and then press Option Command J. Call out the paragraph rules. Let's see if you want to use manual. It may be in the let's see, is it a tab? Paragraph rules. I didn't find it somewhere, but remember it's Command Option J. Okay, put it here. Paragraph rules. Command Option object, call this out, and you first of all need to choose, you want a row above or row below. Row above should be a row above this paragraph. Row below clearly is below this paragraph. So let's say we want to have a row above, below, let's say below, and then check row on. How much for width of the row you want to choose, 1 point or 10 point. Let's say 10 point. Okay, so that'll be clear. You can see here it's already created. Type, you have different choices. Let's say this wavy, and color, this one. And offset value, if you increase it will go below a little bit. Whether or not you want a right indent or left indent. So one more thing about the paragraph row is that you can choose the row as the column as the width, which means the row goes from the beginning of the column to the end of the column. Or you can choose the text, so it will end where the last line of the text ends. Normally we want to choose this, but that's your choice. And so that's the paragraph row. Lastly, we want to talk about the spelling. In InDesign, it can also help you to do the spell, and simply go to, let me see, edit, spelling, choose check spelling. There are some choices here. You can choose search document. This document has 4 pages, so each document is everything on the 4 pages. Or you can choose search all document, which means if you have several documents open on the desktop, you can also use there. Sometimes you can just spell check the story. Each text frame is considered one story. So that's the terms that you want to know. We don't want to change it, escape it. It will help you to go through the whole document. Okay, and then done if you want. Okay, now that's everything about the text. Now let's go back to talk about the images. When you want to place image into InDesign document, you also use Command D. So you select selection tool, Command D. I have some photos in this folder, so we can choose any photos. You can also choose multiple photos. For example, let's say we're going to choose this, press Command, choose this photo, and this photo, this. Overall, I have 6 photos chosen. Say open. Click here, the first photo. Then click again, another photo. Each time you click, you put the photo over there. And this is so big, so I may want to rescale my photo. Put your cursor on the corner of the photo, press Shift. When you press Shift and rescale the photo will be rescaled proportionately. So press Shift and scale it. You may notice that actually the photo was changed. That's because when you put the photo into InDesign document, a photo always has 2 parts. And this frame, the below frame, and when you see the brown line, that's really the content. So you have a frame and a content. Right now I'm moving the content. The frame is not moving. So when I rescale the photo just now, I actually just rescaled the frame. The content has not been rescaled. And in order to make the content fit the frame, you can click here, fill frame proportionately. So now you can see the content has been filled into the frame proportionately. And then we can move this graph here. I want to rescale this also. If you click auto fit before you rescale it, see the text and the content in the frame will be changed at the same time. And this thing, auto fit again press shift, rescale it, and we can make it even smaller. There's some still space between here. If you double click this part, this means the frame does not really fit the photo. Okay, we can manually photo. Yeah, that's not really space. Okay, so we want to uncheck this and move the photo down a little bit. And then fit them again. So put this here. Oh, again, the content is moved here, but the frame is not moved here. And if you press fit the now we want to fit the content. So if we click that, it goes back. Okay, now you see the blue line. That means we're working on the frame. So when you are deal with the photo, always be cautious whether or not you are dealing with only the content or the content as well as the frame. When you see the blue line here, that means a frame is dealt with. But when you see the brown line like this, the brown line here, that means you are only dealing with the content. Be cautious about that. This is a very big one. We want to make it smaller also. Trying to make the photo smaller. It's quite a large photo. And notice that I always press shift when I rescale the photo, because if you do not press shift, see, this is the content, this is the frame. Sometimes this happens. You may wonder, where is my photo? And fit the okay, fit the content. Let's say here you can also press Shift, Option, Command E, always fit the frame. Let's say this is the photo when you rescale it proportionately. If you rescale it unproportionately, if you just change here, or if you check this and rescale it here, see the photo will be this is still fine because actually it's still rescaled proportionally. Let's say if you active the photos and rescale like this, and if that happened, you are actually destroying a very beautiful photos. So we always want to make sure that we are rescaling the photo proportionately. And when you are working on the photo, you can also change the rotate the photo a little bit, or rotate this way. Notice there are some other functions. When you click here, you can add the corners, make the photo looks like this, or you can give the photos other functions. For instance, if we look at this photo, so again a quite big photo. Well, I guess let's use this photo as an example. Make sure you see the blue line here, and then press Option and click this button. You will see that you will be able to change the corner into different shapes. This shape, or this shape. So you have different choices here. You can make the photos beautiful. Let me see if we have any other things about the photos. Okay, so most of the functions that you can use to edit the photos or objects actually is here in the object formatting control panel here. Like I said, you can edit the corners, you can rescale the photos, you can select it and flip it. Have different options here. Later on, we're going to talk about you can give some effects, but that's not a topic for today. So again, please remember when you are working with the photos, if there's no other strong argument to support you, you want to always press Shift and rescale the photos. Make sure that you change the photos proportionately so that the photo will keep its original shape. That's all for chapter 4. Thank you very much. Bye bye.